Me said I love you to Marciano when she was leaving Vanderpump Villa, and he said I love you back. Hey, you guys, I just listened to the Juicy Scoop podcast with Marciano in its entirety, so you don't have to. This is the second podcast that Marciano goes on. This one, he went by himself, so there was a lot less interruptions. He was able to share his side of the story when it comes to Demi and Jessi. Now, this is going to be a long video, so put it on 2x, and let's get started. So for some timeline context, Vanderpump Villa Season 2, when Mom Talk came over and did a crossover episode, was filmed in summer of 2024. Secret Life of Mormon Wives Season 1 had not premiered and premiered on September of 2024. So Mom Talk had arrived to Vanderpump Villa before their first season had even aired. Marciano shared that he did not know a lot about Mom Talk or the girls that were coming to the villa. Obviously, at the time, they were not as popular as they are now since their season had not aired yet. He knew a little bit about Taylor Frankie Paul because Hannah, his ex-girlfriend, who's also a Vanderpump Villa cast member, told him about the whole swinging scandal. Marciano shares that when Demi got to the villa, things were very flirty between them two, but felt completely consensual. He says that she initiated the touchiness between them, was very flirty with him, but he was always cautious of all the cameras that were around him because obviously he was one of the main cast members on Vanderpump Villa, so he knew he was always being watched. The first night that Mom Talk was there, they played a Truth or Dare game where he was dared to kiss someone on the cheek. So he asked Demi if he could kiss her on the cheek, and she said yes. Demi later references this moment on Secret Life of Mormon Wives. He says that Demi liked to have these therapy chats with him because she wanted to somewhat fix him, figure out why he was like damaged and this huge player based on the things that other people were saying. Would talk for hours and hours and hours during these therapy chats where they would be really vulnerable with each other, him to her and her to him, about her marriage and her past marriage. During the time that they're in the villa, they don't really have their phones, but Demi was allowed to have her phone so she could post the Secret Life of Mormon Wives Season 1 trailer, and during that time, she went ahead and FaceTimed her daughter and asked Marciano if he wanted to join her. He says that he listened to the entire FaceTime call because she wanted him to hear her talking to her daughter and how she talks to her daughter. After this call, they had another long therapy chat that they call it, where they were talking for hours and hours about her relationship, her marriage, and the longevity of her marriage. Marciano says she was also kind of questioning where her marriage was going. This part had me kind of shook. So when they were leaving the villa, Mom Talk was, heading out. They shared a kiss, not a makeout, they just shared a peck. And then she told him, "I love you," and he said, "I love you back." Those were the last words that they ever spoke to each other in person. He says that moment really shocked him and made him believe that their connection was deeper. Because, fucking obviously, why are you telling him you love him? You're literally married. A couple of days after Mom Talk left, Marciano actually got fired from Vanderpump Villa for having an issue with another cast member. If you watch Vanderpump Villa, you know what happened, but in essence, he had an issue with another cast member, and him and Hannah, his ex-girlfriend, both got fired. Obviously, him and Hannah get fired from the show. They leave, they get their phones back, and they go to dinner. I guess he posts a picture of himself at dinner, and that's when Demi reaches out to him on Instagram and asks him, like, "Hey, what's going on?" Because obviously she knows that he's in the villa. He wouldn't have his phone unless something happened, aka him getting fired. Demi messages him. She's like, "Hey, call me." They exchange phone numbers, and they have two very long phone calls, one for like an hour and one over an hour. During these conversations, Marciano shares that Demi asked him if he got fired for touching her, implying that there was some inappropriate behavior, and he said he was shocked and told her nothing like that had happened. Marciano says that he feels like Demi panicked because she didn't know why he got fired, so she went ahead and told Mom Talk that she had gotten sexually assaulted by Marciano. They encouraged her to press charges, but she refused and said that she just wanted this buried. Later on, apparently Demi told Marciano that she told the rest of the cast to keep quiet about the whole situation, but he felt that it was because she feared that something would come out publicly. So Demi and Marciano kept in contact, and they were FaceTiming, talking via phone all the time, up to 10 times a day. And apparently, according to Marciano, Demi and Brett invited Marciano to their home, not once, but twice, the first time being for the premiere of The Secret Life of Mormon Wives. He says that he originally didn't go the first time because he knew that Michaela and Jen did not like him, so he didn't want to create more drama with that whole situation, so he decided not to go. He adds that him and Demi stayed in regular communication all of the time through August and September of 2024, and that she also included him in discussions for season 2 contract negotiations, including money disputes between her and Jessi. We saw all of this drama unfold in season 2. We kind of shift gears into a situation with Jessi where Marciano shares that him and Jessi were actually really cool during the villa as well. Originally, Sheena Shea was going to have Demi and Jessi on her podcast, and Marciano had been invited by Demi to meet up in LA. Demi decided last minute not to go because she was having issues with Jessi. Marciano decided to go to LA anyway because he had already intended to go, and that's when he met up with Jessi and Sheena. Marciano says that when he saw Jessi, Jessi came up to him, ran into his arms, put her legs around him like they had been friends forever. And although they had been somewhat close in the villa, that was not the vibe that he thought he got from her originally. So now he was getting a different vibe from Jessi, maybe something flirty. Apparently they were flirting all night, and then they went back to her hotel. Sheena and Brock had came with them, and then Sheena, Brock, and Marciano all took an Uber or left and went to Sheena's house, which is in the valley. And that's when Jessi was like, hey, you should come back. Marciano comes back to Jessi's hotel. He stays the night. They talk all night, according to Marciano and Jessi. Kiss twice. Then when they wake up, Jordan is calling Jessi, and Jessi's like, hey, you gotta go. And that's when Marciano leaves. And apparently they were supposed to meet up at an event in like an hour, so he knew that he was gonna see her very shortly. He also says that Jessi claims that they texted and had an emotional affair for only a couple of weeks, but he says it was way longer than that. That he says it was pretty intense for a couple of weeks, but it was longer that they were, texting and doing all that. And now we get to the point where Marciano shares his version of how Jordan found out about their emotional affair. Now, just some thoughts on my part. I think that Jessi downplayed this on the Vile Files. I'm not gonna lie. Marciano shares a little more details. I feel like Jessi didn't share as many details on the podcast, but this is what he said. So apparently Jordan and Jessi and her two sisters and their husbands were in Vegas, and they were hanging out with Marciano all weekend. A couple of dinners here, maybe a day club, this, that, and the other. They were hanging out. Marciano says that Jordan was extremely cool, that they were able to have conversations and notice how nice of a guy he is. Apparently, when they were at dinner, Jessi and Marciano were texting each other at the table, trying to tell each other hey, let's find a way to sneak away so that we can have a moment, according to Marciano. Apparently then Jordan sees something on Jessi's phone, takes her phone, go to the bathroom, screen records a conversation, and then obviously sees that Marciano and Jessi are not just friends, that they're having this emotional affair, that they're talking to each other, flirty. Marciano said that they were sending pictures back and forth. They were FaceTiming, that they were texting all the time. Jessi then tells Marciano, hey, Jordan knows. Jordan then texts Marciano, I know. And then Jordan calls Marciano and talks to him about the whole situation. Marciano tries to play dumb, but then, obviously he tells him what happened. Jordan is apparently very calm during this conversation with Marciano, according to Marciano. Marciano tells Jordan, no, we did not have sex. That's why Jordan and Jessi were so shocked when Marciano said that they had sex on Secret Life of Women Wives. This is a part where I'm like, Jessi, girl. So apparently after Jordan found out about Marciano, her and Marciano did not stop their conversations. They just switched their methods. Apparently, instead of doing iMessage or texting, they started using WhatsApp or Instagram, and they were still very flirty, sexual in nature text messages. But also Marciano says that he was trying to be a shoulder for Jessi during this very difficult time in her life. Now, cut to Secret Life of Women Wives Season 3. Marciano shares that Jessi was made aware about the conversation that was going to take place with Layla by production before it happened. So when we saw that conversation of Layla telling Jessi, this had already been told to Jessi. Jessi and Marciano had a conversation an hour prior, so Jessi fully knew that this was going to be brought up on camera. And then lastly, let's talk about the reunion. So Marciano was invited to the reunion, but 1 hour before they started filming, they told him it was best for him not to be there. Also said he was left in the dark about a lot of things, but ultimately feels like he's glad that he didn't end up going to the reunion, looking back on things now. What do you guys think? Are you shocked by any of this? Let me know your thoughts.